Hello, here we are, day 6. Welcome to my living room. I usually have the camera focused at my desktop, but today I wanted to do a little bit of movement work with you. We did some movement of sitting, if you recall, of sitting on a block and just orienting that central axial skeleton in a way that the weight can travel down from your head through the curvy spine into the pelvis and into the bottom of the pelvis, which is where these little rocking chair bones are, the sitting bones. And then I had you sitting cross-legged on the floor so that you could relax your hip joints and start to invite your knees to drop away from the body while continuing to sit upright. And that is really a beautiful foundational practice. I hope that you're able to do that, to practice that every day. It's my intention for us to build on that practice. Now, today, we're not going to do yoga practice. I'm not going to take you through a movement sequence. It's more that I want to just give you a sense of the shoulder girdle and why keeping your shoulder girdle relaxed and free is really going to help to reduce the stress and bring a sense of renewal, because we hold a lot of our tension up in our necks and into our shoulders, and we don't even realizing it. It's like it's a startle pattern, and that is the sympathetic nervous system being highly triggered by the little things in life. Back in millions of years ago, the sympathetic nervous system was our fight and flight and freeze response to danger. But in fact, in modern civilization, modern societies, that old trigger system is still active. And what we want to do to reduce stress and to feel more comfortable and bring more of that quiet calm back to ourselves is to become aware of when that system, that sympathetic nervous system, is being triggered. And very often you can feel it both in the tightening of the thighs, like the animal wanting to run, but also the protection that happens when we pull up. So today I'm going to just share with you some really basic awareness tactics or techniques that you can use to become more aware of the freedom in your neck and the ease. So the first thing I want to do is have you bring your hands up to your head and imagine your head, well, actually sense your head living on top of the spine, which is actually way up behind the cheekbones in the middle of the head. You could press your hand on the ridge that you feel in the back where the head bone is, and just give your head a little bit of a nod, and you'll start to notice that if you free the muscles in the back of the neck, your head is going to be more available for freedom and mobility. Okay? And we could do that yes movement, which is your head living on the top of the spine. And we can also do kind of looking around, using your eyes. You'll notice that your head has the freedom to move independently of your neck. And that's really, really helpful, because the neck, in fact, we don't want to pull the neck around with the head. We want the neck to be part of the spine. So you're really designing or becoming aware kinesthetically of a way that you can map your body that includes your neck as the top curve of the spine. So go ahead and bring your fingers to the back of your neck and just kind of gently move them upward from the base of the neck where you feel that little ridge on the bottom, and allow the neck to elongate. So that's a movement or elongation upward. You can also feel a slight curve forward. Okay, so that's a really, really valuable awareness to have, because our head is really resting on the top of that, which is what we want. And then you can bring in your mind's eye all the way down through the spine and let those curves be there. You're not going to try to straighten those curves, because our bodies are not meant to be straight. Our spines are actually very curvy. And at the very bottom of the spine is the tailbone. But what happens is the weight shifts a little bit forward into the pelvis, whether you're sitting or standing. And that when you're sitting, the weight travels down through those sitting bones that I just described. When you're standing, it's a little bit different. I'm going to demonstrate. I'll take my chair away. When you're standing, the weight actually travels down through the pelvis and transfers forward a little bit and drops into the femur bone and into the shin bones and then into the feet. Okay, so that we have the ability to balance naturally and move naturally on the throughout our whole bodies and be able to stay in a certain amount of freedom. So this is what I want you to do today. We're going to talk about the shoulder girdle as just widening and resting on the topmost vertebrae of your ribs. So it's the very first vertebrae. It's a really small little vertebrae. But the collarbone, or the clavicle as it's called scientifically, is really balancing like a catamaran on the little bone of the sternum. Okay, I don't want to get too technical, but I want you to think about your collarbones widening, almost like they could continue widening out. And that if you bring one of your hands to the back now and kind of walk along that ridge of the scapula, that's your shoulder blade in the back. And it's a blade. It's a triangular shaped bone, but it has this ridge on the top. If you walk your fingers all the way out to the edge, you'll feel a little indentation there. And that's where the arm comes out. So the arm can just hang and relax and lengthen. Your fingers are like little butterflies moving, moving, moving. You get a lot of mobility available to you. So if you bring your hands up so that the thumb is in the back and the fingers are just resting in the front, and drop your elbows a little bit, I'm going to ask you to just move just ever so bit small. It can even be smaller than what I'm doing. I'm just doing this to demonstrate how much movability we have. But what's happening is the whole spine is actually moving too. It's rotating as you move from side to side. And this is something that you want to become more aware of. We want the neck to be part of the spine, pointing up. We want the head to be free to look around or to balance on the top of the spine. And we want to allow for a little mobility in the rib cage. So imagine now just kind of beginning to move or get ready to walk. So I'm going to just have you swing from side to side, letting your heel move up and your knee release forward. When you're doing that, this is the activity of free walking, free movable walking. So, even yoga and Pilates, these exercise techniques that we do, even lifting weights, has this walking motion as its foundation. So I'm giving you real foundational work today to allow for that shoulder girdle. Remember, we talked about startle, when the shoulders get pulled out, or that forward head position that gets kind of stuck forward. None of that has to take place. You can allow for the neck to relax and release, the shoulders to widen, and the arms to just hang gently down at your side into the fingertips. And then the creativity of the human species to be able to express and reach and play and reach up, all those movements and activities are completely available to you. So that's all I'm going to share with you today. I want you to play with this, stand, start to pretend like you're walking in place by lifting the opposite heel and let the knee release forward, get a little swinging, look around. Don't look around too much if you're dizzy, but just know that your head and your eyes are still free to stay looking forward. And then you start to really bring out the inner dancer in you, which is one of the things that I'm really wishing for you in this 30-day renewal map, because free movement is your birthright, and we just have to research and figure out how we kind of pull ourselves into a stuck position over time. All right. This is Diane saying goodbye for today, and I will see you in the next lesson. Take care.